So we are studying mantra 15 of Sri Ishopanishad. If you see, you will find a sudden shift in the mood of the mantras from this 15 onwards. Till now, all the previous mantras of Ishopanishad were presenting to us certain metaphysical knowledge. How is the nature of reality? What is the nature of the divine? What is the nature of the world? And what is our nature? So that is shifting. We are moving from studying metaphysical knowledge to now a devotional prayer. What we have done up till now in the first 14 mantras is to understand the material and the spiritual energies of the Lord. So now the devotee is praying that I don't want to just know you, jnana, but I want to see you. I want to have your darshan. That is the abhilasha, that is the aspiration of the devotee in these last four mantras. That fine, I understand, but now my desire is to get your darshan. So, we have seen how we move from Brahman to Paramatma to Bhagavan realization. But that is realization. Sakshatkar you can have, but darshan is not, possible. It requires the mercy of the Lord. So when there is the personal mercy of the Lord, then we get darshan. So that is exactly what the devotee in these prayers is saying. I might realize God, but I need your mercy. I need your kripa to have your darshan. So this is a devotee's plea, a prayer of a devotee, who has understood that the absolute truth, the supreme truth is not just light or a law or cosmic power or a principle, but the supreme truth is actually a person, Bhagavān, Sri Krishna. So while we were discussing that, the Upanishads don't directly indicate towards Sri Krishna. They Towards the conclusion of Sri Upanishad, we are coming to a clear presentation of the personal form of the Lord. Bhagwan is presented even in the Upanishads. Yeah. So let's see what is this beautiful prayer. Mantra 15. Hiranmayena patrena satyasya apihitam mukham tattvam pushan apavrinu satya dharmaya drishtaye. So this devotee is praying, Oh my Lord, sustainer of all that lives, Pushan. Your real face is covered by your dazzling effulgence. Kindly remove that covering and exhibit yourself to your pure devotee. Yeah, such a beautiful addition that I cannot see you because your Brahmajyoti is so dazzling and it is blinding me. Please remove this covering. I'm not interested in your effulgence. I want to have your Sakshat Darshan. So this Hiranmaya Patra, which is a golden effulgence. When the Gyanis conceive of the absolute truth, this is what they visualize. That dazzling Brahman effulgence we call as divine light. So this divine light is Hiranmaya Patrena. Okay. So it is a divine light, definitely, but it is not the full revelation of the absolute truth. It is just the radiance of the Lord. It is not the Lord Himself. It is not the Lord's personal form or identity. It is just like the sun rays, that is the first experience. But beyond the sun rays, we want to see the sun planet and sun God Himself. So Srila Prabhupada begins by explaining that the Lord says in the Bhagavad Gita, Brahmano hi pratishtha aham. That is, Brahman is one feature of the absolute truth. But what is the basis of that Brahman? Where is Brahman resting? Shri Krishna says, Brahmano hi pratishtha, or the support, or the foundation, or the shelter of Brahman is me. Brahmano hi pratishtha aham. So Krishna is not produced out of Brahman. It is Brahman, in fact, which rests upon Sri Krishna. Brahman is Krishna's effulgence. Paramatma is Krishna's localized expansion. And only Bhagwan is the full personal source of all other manifestation. So here we see that these three aspects, the Brahman aspect is most easily perceived, realized by the beginner, the Paramatma realization by those who have made a little more progress, and Bhagwan realization is the ultimate realization. How do we know that? Because Sri Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Matta Parataram Nanyat. There is no truth higher than me, Arjun. I'm presenting to you the highest level of understanding of the absolute truth, which is me in my personal form as Bhagavan. So Krishna is the source of Brahmajyoti and Paramatma. Yeah. And now Prabhupada presents the idea of how Paramatma is our maintainer. So we are going to discuss about the word Pushan. Pushan means it comes from the word portion, or to nourish, or to maintain. So how Paramatma is the maintainer of all. So in the 10th chapter, in the last verse, Shri Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, the ekam shena sthito jagat. Arjun, I have explained some of my opulences to you, and the taste of water, and so on. But how much can I tell you? My vibhutis, my mystic opulences are infinite. Just by one amsha, eka amshena sthito jagat. I maintain this entire manifestation by one portion of my expansion. Amsha means a small part. What is that amsha? It is Paramatma. So that all pervading Paramatma is one who maintains the material cosmic creation. Not just the material creation, the Paramatma also maintains the spiritual manifestation. So here, the word Pushan is used. He also maintains all manifestations in the spiritual world. So both the spiritual and the material cosmic manifestations are maintained by the Lord in his Paramatma form. That is what we have to remember. Yeah. So, Brahman, let's understand clearly what are these three states. Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagwan. I'll just share a screen so that it is clear for once and for all. We have discussed this a few times, but let's understand this. Yes. So Brahman is the impersonal spiritual effulgence. What does Brahman, what is the attribute of Brahman? Sat. So eternal spiritual existence. Sat. It doesn't, present the Lord's personal form, qualities, leelas, relationships, nothing. It is just infinite, impersonal, all expanding spiritual effulgence. This is Brahman. Who is Paramatma? Paramatma is a localized expansion of Lord Krishna within the universe. That is Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. And within the heart of every living entity, that is Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. So in these two forms, the Lord is expanding as Paramatma, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu and Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. Kshirodakshaya Vishnu is the super soul in our heart, and Garbhodakshaya Vishnu is one who enters every Brahman, due to whom the Brahmanda is sustaining. Okay. And what is the function of the Paramatma? Paramatma does not have relationships. Paramatma doesn't reciprocate. Paramatma is only Upadrishta Anumanta. Witness, silent guide, just indicating, not instructing or reciprocating, permitting our enjoyment. Okay, if your karma allows, have it. Whatever you want, it's your wish. And he's the maintainer, Pushan. And Bhagwan, what is Bhagwan? Is the complete realization of absolute truth. In addition, it includes the concepts of Brahman and Paramatma. And in addition to that, Bhagwan possesses form. Bhagwan possesses a personality, yeah, an individuality, qualities, and he performs activities, he makes relationships, and he has innumerable potencies. So what is perfection of knowledge? Srila Prabhupada says knowledge means to know matter, spirit, and the controller of both. That is Bhagwan. So we might come to Brahman or Paramatma realization, but that is not complete till we come to the idea of who is the controller of both Brahman and matter and spirit. So the Gyanis are in, they seek Brahman, the yogis seek Paramatma, and the devotees want to love and serve Bhagwan. Okay? So Krishna is the source of everything. That is the point. So further, Srila Prabhupada says, what is the nature of Bhagwan? Bhagwan is Sat, Brahman is Sat, Paramatma is Sat and Chit. The awareness is also added. And Bhagwan is Sat, Chit, and Anand. So primarily, Bhagwan's main attribute is Anand. Anandamayo Bhyasat. So the Lord is seeking transcendental bliss. When he is in Vrindavan, he's performing Leelas with his Nitya Parshads. That is his constitutional state. What is Lord's role? What is Lord's function? Nothing. He has no work, only play or Leela. And by that Leela, he experiences transcendental bliss, Ananda, and he shares that bliss with his devotees. That is all the Lord does in his Dham. So, even from the beginning of his childhood pastime, when you see the killing of Rakshasas like Putana, Aghasur, Bakasur, they are just Leelas. There's no effort. Once a disciple of Prabhupada was drawing a painting of Sri Krishna, and you they were all new. So just to demonstrate how Krishna is strong, that painter drew nerves, coming from Krishna's forearms and his arms. So Prabhupada said, no, this is not how Krishna looks. He doesn't have to exert. He's naturally Bhagwan. He's not like Atlas who's holding the globe with a lot of effort. Bhagwan can do everything like a Leela, effortlessly. So he's enjoying with his parents, with his brother, with his friends, and even as Makhanjol, he's just doing that to steal the hearts of his devotees. He doesn't need butter, he wants our devotion. He wants to steal our hearts, which are attracted towards materialism and impersonalism. So he says, when will you be attracted to me? I'll show you such beautiful Leelas, you will forget everything. You'll forget Maya. Everything the Lord did in Vrindavan was for the pleasure of his associates. And the Lord is creating these pastimes to attract the jnanis and yogis, speculators and acrobats. There's a beautiful verse in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Ittam satam brahma sukha nubhutya dasam gatanam paradaivatena maya shritanam naradarakena sakam vijahru krita punya bunja. That that same Lord who is perceived as Brahman by the Gyanis, hmm, who is worshipped as Bhagwan by the devotees in the mood of Dasya, and who is considered as an ordinary human by mundane people, that same absolute truth is playing with the cowherd boys. What is their good fortune? They must have attained this position after accumulating many, many pious activities. So the Lord is always engaged in Leela. And through Leela means in various rasas with his devotees and associates. Shanta, Dasya, Sakhya, Vatsalya, and Madhurya. So if this is the Lord's primary function and role, then we might question then who does creation? Is creation not the function of Bhagavan? No, it is not. For creation, he sends his expansion. Hmm? So Lord Krishna never leaves Vrindavan. Vrindavanam parityajya padam ekam na gacchati. Lord Krishna doesn't take one step out of Vrindavan. Still, he's managing the affairs of his creation. How? In this, we should read, Srila Prabhupada mentions these few verses from the 13th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, very beautiful conceptual verses. We'll discuss this when we come to Bhagavad Gita. But let's at least read the translations. How does the same Bhagwan who is, intent on performing Leela with his Parshads, how does he create? How does he pervade this universe? And how does he create and maintain this universe? Through his expansions. So, 13th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, verses 14 to 18. Sarvatha panipadam tat sarvato kshikshiro mukham sarvatra shruti malloke sarvam avritya tishtati. Everywhere are his hands and legs, his eyes, heads and faces, and he has ears everywhere. In this way, the supersoul exists. So, what are we talking of? The Paramatma feature. The same Bhagwan pervades this creation through his Paramatma feature, pervading everything. 15th verse says, the Supersoul is the original source of all senses. Yet he is without senses. Sarvendriya gunabhasam, sarvendriya vivarjitam. So you remember we discussed the seemingly contradictory qualities of the Lord. So similar spirit are these verses in that everyone's senses comes through him because he is the creator, but he is without senses. Asaktam sarva bhrichaiva nirgunam gunabhoktar cha. So he's maintaining everyone. Sarva bhrik, maintaining everyone, but he himself is asaktam, detached. He is beyond the gunas, nirgunam, but at the same time, he is the master of the gunas. Guna bhokta. So this is his relationship with the universe, with the three gunas. In the 16th verse, it is said that the supreme truth, same Paramatma feature, exists outside and inside of living beings, the moving and non-moving. Because he's subtle, he is beyond the power of material senses to see or know. Sukshmatvat. He's sukshma. So we cannot understand him through our material senses. Although he is far, far away, he is also near to all. Durastham chantike cha tat. You remember? We also saw this in our mantra in Ishopanishad. Tad dure tad antike. Mantra 5. Same presentation. So this is the consistency between the Upanishads. So he's everywhere. And 17th verse says, although the supreme super soul, if super soul is present in the heart of everyone, does that one super soul, one whole, get divided into many? Avibhaktin cha bhakteshu. He's without division. He's never divided. Vibhaktam cha iva cha sthitam. Still he is appearing amongst all as divided. He's situated as one, although he is the maintainer of every living entity. It is to be understood that he devours and develops all. Grashishu means he is the destroyer. Prabhavishnu, he is also the developer. So creation, maintenance, and destruction are all done by Paramatma alone. Not Bhagwan, but through Paramatma. And the last verse in this section is that he is the source of light in all luminous objects. He is beyond the darkness of matter and is unmanifested. Mm. He is knowledge. He is the object of knowledge and he is the goal of knowledge. He is situated in everyone's heart. Hridi sarvasya vishishtitam. So Paramatma is present in everyone's heart. So very beautifully, we are seeing these qualities of Paramatma here. That although the Lord personally has nothing to do with material creation, maintenance, and destruction, he causes all these things to be done by his plenary expansion, the Paramatma. So through Paramatma, the Lord is doing creation. So we are all individual Atmas, and the principal Atma who controls all other Atmas, who controls all other Jivatmas, is called Param Atma, the Supreme Atma. So this is the science of God realization. What is Brahman? What is Paramatma? What are their functions? What is Bhagavān? So when we understand all of these categories, their functions and their interactions with the universe, that is called the science of God realization. So those who are Sankhya yogis, those who only study matter, they can only analyze and meditate on the 24 elements. So what do Sankhyites do? They break down the universe into its basic building blocks, which comes to 24. And they only study these 24 elements, but that never leads to reaching Paramatma. Yeah. They have very little information of the Purusha. They're just studying Prakriti. The 24 elements which they're studying are all coming in the category of Prakriti, but they don't touch the Purusha. And those who are, so this is the Sankhyites. Those who are impersonalist, they are bewildered by the glaring Brahmajyoti. So beyond, they cannot see beyond the Brahmajyoti. Therefore, this prayer in mantra 15, please remove this. I know you have a personal form. I want your darshan. So if one wants to see the absolute truth in full, one has to penetrate beyond the 24 material elements. Each Brahman is covered by this thick layer of each element. We have to penetrate that, which means beyond the Sankhya understanding. And we have to penetrate the glaring effulgence as well, Brahmajyoti. So only when you go beyond the Prakriti and the Brahmajyoti, you reach the Purusha. So that is the prayer of mantra 15. Please remove the Hiranyamaya Patra. Because unless that is removed, we will not be able to perceive the real face of the personality of God. Okay? And that Bhagwan realization is factual. It's ultimate. So then Prabhupada talks about the three Purusha avatars. When we say Paramatma, who are we referring to? From, you know, from Sri Krishna comes Balramji. From Balramji comes the first Chaturvyu. Yeah. We have studied this. You can still see it. I can share a picture of this. So from Sri Krishna comes Balramji. From Balramji comes the first Chaturvyu. From Balramji, in the first Chaturvyu there is Vasudev, Sankarshan, Anirudh, Pradyumna. So you see, within Goloka, the first Chaturvyu is being expanded. Sri Krishna is Swayam Rupa. From him comes Balramji here. From Balramji comes the first Chaturvyu, Vasudev, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, Anirudh. From that Mool Sankarshan in Goloka comes Lord Narayana in Vaikuntha. So you see the first Chaturvyu was in Goloka, but after that Lord Vaikuntha is in, yeah, please don't, yeah, don't interfere with the presentation, otherwise, it gets covered. So from Lord Narayan in Vaikuntha comes the second Chaturvyu. The second Chaturvyu is in Vaikuntha. Again, Vasudev, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, Anirudh. Okay, so from this Sankarshan comes Karanodakshaya Vishnu, from whom comes Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, from whom comes Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. So these three Vishnus are the Purusha avatars. Yeah, and you see, they are Karanodakshaya Vishnu is the Paramatma of the total material creation, because from him the creation, the Brahmandas come forth. Garbhodakshaya Vishnu is the Paramatma of total universe, Samashti Paramatma. And Kshirodakshaya Vishnu is the Paramatma of each individual soul, Vyashti Paramatma. So these are the three Purushavataras we are seeing here. Yeah. So, and the last one, Kshirodakshay Vishnu, that is the maintainer Paramatma. We discussed Brahma, Vishnu, and Mahesh, the Gunavataras, who are in charge of creation, maintenance, and destruction. So, who's that maintainer Gunavatara of Lord Vishnu? It is that Garbhodak. It is that Kshirodakshay Vishnu, the last one. Okay. So, this is how we understand. And Lord Karanodakshay Vishnu is in the Karan Sagar. So, why are we understanding this? That beyond your Brahmanda, beyond the thick coverings of the Brahmanda, are these three Vishnus. So the yogi, the purpose of yoga system is that you have to meet these three Vishnu tattvas after you go beyond the 24 elements of Prakriti. Yeah. So the yogis, they meditate upon these three Vishnus. They want to have their darshan. Jnana helps one realize impersonal Brahmajyoti. Yoga helps one realize these three Vish Purushavasaras or the Lord and Paramatma feature. And then Srila Prabhupada says, again, Brahman is resting on Bhagavān. So Bhagavān is the root and Brahman and Paramatma are like the branches. And Prabhupada also quotes from Brahma Samhita, Yasya Prabha Prabhavato Jagadanda Koti Shvasesha Vasudadi Vibhuti Bhinnam Tad Brahma Nishkalamananda Ashesha Bhutam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. That out of these millions of universes, each of them is different from the other in their constitution. Yeah. And all of these universes are just situated in one corner of Brahmajyoti. So Brahmajyoti is like spiritual sky. It is so vast. And sometimes you look up into the sky and you see one small cloud. So that cloud is like our material manifestation. All our innumerable Brahmandas are lying only like a cloud in one corner of the infinite spiritual sky. Yeah, so Brahmajyoti is the personal rays of the Lord. And Brahmaji is saying this mantra that we are seeing from Brahma Samhita is a darshan of Brahmaji. It is a factual realization of the absolute truth by Brahmaji. So, this mantra of Ishopanishad is a simple prayer. It is asking the Lord to please remove that Brahman effulgence. I want to have your direct darshan. And Srila Prabhupada also says that about this Brahmajyoti, there is more description in the Mundak Upanishad. What is explained about the Brahmajyoti? That in that spiritual realm, beyond the material covering, how does the unlimited Brahman effulgence look like? It is free from material contamination. There is no presence of gunas. It is effulgent white light. The transcendentalists, the Gyanis, they look at Brahmajyoti as infinite white light or golden light, Hiranmaya Patra. So because there is that source of light, we know we don't need any other source of light like illumination of like sun or moon. And Brahman is spread everywhere, up, down, sideways. It is spreading throughout the material and spiritual skies. Okay. So this is the description of Brahmajyoti given in Mundaka Upanishad. So what is knowledge? Perfect knowledge means to know Krishna as the root of this Brahman effulgence. Brahmano hi pratishta aham. If we mistake Brahman to be the absolute and Bhagwan to be some ordinary being, then that is not knowledge. That is ignorance. And we can understand this science of Krishna from Srimad Bhagavatam. Vyasdev never says that the jiva is the same. It is Vyasdev and Srimad Bhagavatam never presents jiva as the supreme truth. Yeah. If jiva was all powerful, why would the jiva have to pray? Please remove this effulgence. That means you don't have power. That's why you're praying. Doesn't prayer denote our limitation, lack of power? So if a jiva is praying, then we cannot accept ontologically that jiva can ever be the absolute truth. Jiva can never be Ishvara. So why are we praying? It's also important to understand the meaning of a prayer. When do you pray? When you want help beyond your human endeavor. When you are seeking for divine intervention. You've tried, you put in your endeavor, but you need something more. That is when we pray. So even jnana, yoga, karma, they are all human endeavors. Whereas bhakti is not an endeavor, bhakti is a prayer. So these last four mantras of Ishopanishad are bhakti fully. So the conclusion is that very beautiful. This is one of the best presentations of Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagavān. So Srila Prabhupada says that one who doesn't have knowledge of the material potence, one who has no knowledge of any potencies of the Lord, okay, they will realize the impersonal Brahman. Like we saw, those who are neophytes in the spiritual path, they have no knowledge of the potencies. Everything is about the potencies. So when you have zero knowledge of potencies, where are we? Brahman realization. When you have knowledge of only the material potencies of the Lord, what is the material potency of the Lord? What did we
Material
discuss?
world.
Sorry?
External energy. External energy.
Prakriti.
No, not proper. Yeah, but in the context of this reading,
The table, whatever. Yes. Yeah.
the material potencies, the Lord is accomplishing creation through his material potencies. So material potencies is to understand Vishnu Tattvas, Krishna in the relation to matter. That is Purusha Avataras or Vishnu Tattva. What is their function? To create the material manifestation. So that is the material potency of the Lord, which means Paramatma feature. And why is the Lord even taking the effort to create this universe? To facilitate our incomplete pending desires. Because jivas have desires, they want to express it, experience it. So they need a field, right? They need a ground. So Krishna creates that ground. Okay, you can try to fulfill your desires in this material realm. And that he creates through the Purusha avatars. So when we have no idea of the Lord's potencies, that is the Brahman realization. When we have understanding only of the material potencies of the Lord, that is Paramatma realization. And when you have knowledge of both the material and the spiritual potencies of the Lord, that is Bhagavān realization. What is the realization of the spiritual potencies of the Lord? That the Lord has a spiritual dham. Lord has an eternal form. Lord performs Leela. This is all in the category of spiritual potencies. So you see how beautiful this is. Depending on how much you understand Krishna's potency, you go from Brahman to Paramatma to Bhagwan. It's a very nice. So, Mahavishnu, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, and
Hare
Kshirodakshaya
Krishna,
Vishnu, they're
Prabhuji,
all,
Dandavat.
all three are Paramatma, you are right.
Yeah, Hare. Prabhuji, can you please
Yes.
explain these potencies again?
Yeah, so I was saying, Prabhupada is saying when one has no knowledge, one has knowledge about zero potencies of the Lord. So what is divinity without potency? Brahman. No attributes, just all expansive, eternal light, energy, consciousness. Not even consciousness, just existence. When you have knowledge of the material potencies, what are the material potencies? The Shaktis of the Lord in relationship to matter? creation, maintenance, and destruction. That Lord does through Paramatma feature. So when you have knowledge of the material potencies of the Lord, you reach Paramatma realization. And when you have knowledge of both the material and the spiritual potencies of the Lord, you reach Bhagavān realization. Is that clear?
Prabhuji, can we have an example for this?
Example for Brahman, we have seen. Okay, so if somebody, knows you in your official capacity, that you are a manager of this department in this company, that is like knowing your material potency. So they'll have a professional relationship with you. But somebody who knows you as a person, your family, your relationships, they are your family member. That is like the spiritual potency of the Lord, Lord's private life. So, there are different layers to a person's individuality. The most outermost layer is that, people just know you by name. They don't know your professional roles or your personal nature. So that is Brahman. And somebody knows you professionally, that's Paramatma. And when somebody knows you personally, that's Bhagwan realization. Does it
Yeah,
make
thank
sense?
you so much, Prabhuji. Yeah, thank you so much.
So, last part of this mantra, Srila Prabhupada says that others are partial realizations, only realizing Sri Krishna in full after the removal of Hiranyamaya Patra is Bhagwan realization. So, Bhagwan realization requires the Brahmajyoti to be uncovered. And what is the final conclusion? Vasudevam Sarvam Iti. So this mantra 15, please remove your effulgence, dazzling effulgence, is an attempt to go to reach the understanding that Vasudevam Sarvam Iti. Okay, so Bhagwan is the root and Paramatma and Brahman are his branches. And in the Bhagavad Gita, 6th chapter, last part, where Lord Krishna says, who is better? So Srila Prabhupada is now concluding that, okay, people might have different levels of realization, but are they all equal? No, they are not equal. 646 says, tapasvino adhiko yogi, jnani bhi matodhika, karmibhyaschadhiko yogi, tasmat yogi bhava Arjuna. That if you compare between the three types of transcendentalists, the yogis, jnanis, and bhaktas, it is said that those who are cultivating jnana, they are better than karmis, whereas yogis are still better than jnanis. And amongst the yogis, who is the highest? Yoginam api sarvesham mad gatena antaratmana. So this is a chapter on dhyana yoga, Ashtanga yoga. Shri Krishna is concluding that also with bhakti. So Shri Krishna presents different paths in the Bhagavad Gita, but every discussion he concludes with presenting bhakti as the supreme. So in the end of the 6th chapter, Shri Krishna is saying, Yoginam api sarvesham. It is better, it is good to be a yogi. A yogi is better than a jnani. But who is the best yogi? Yoginam api sarvesham mad gatena antaratmana. One who is meditating upon internally. Shraddhavan, bhajate. These words are indicative of bhakti directly. Shraddha, bhajan. It indicates that there is an individuality difference between the worshipper and the worshipped. And there is a faith, there is a worship, there is surrender. So clearly, since, 6th chapter, pure bhakti. Shraddhavan bhajate yomam same yukta tamo mataha. In my opinion, bhakta is the best of all the yogis. Okay, any other questions? Mantra 15?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Prabhuji, in Paramatma realization, does it include realizing the Vishnu Tattva?
Correct. See, the Purushavasaras are Vishnu Tattva. What do we mean by Vishnu Tattva? What is the category? Like we're discussing that there are three states of matter: solid, liquid, and gas. So what are these? These are three categories. So when you study categories, that study is called ontology. So ontology presents different states of existence. One is Ishwar, that is one state. Other is Jiva. So yes, Purushavasaras are also in the Ishwar Tattva. So Paramatma is also Ishwar, but it is still an incomplete realization of the absolute truth. We are not denying that they are not Ishwar. They have the same, they are divinity, but they are divinity only with material potencies. Divinity with material and spiritual potencies will be Bhagwan. Why do we, is that okay?
Yeah, Prabhuji.
Why do we exist to fulfill? Yeah, because, we still harbor, we want to enjoy independently. We have desires which come from our ahankar. So till the time we don't purify ourselves of ahankar and avidya, we will have selfish desires. Until the time we have selfish desires, we want to be the controllers. Now, you cannot be a controller in the spiritual realm. Like a small child looking at their parent, they're very excited. Oh, I see my parents driving a car. It looks very fascinating. I also want to drive a car. But a kid cannot drive a car. The kid's legs will also not reach the pedals. So what does the parent do? The parent takes the kid to a mela, fair, uh, amusement park, and there is a toy car. So this material world is like a toy car. You want to be the enjoyer? Okay, take this toy car. Try to enjoy. So the purpose is that we realize that I cannot enjoy. I'm actually Prakriti myself. How can I enjoy another energy I'm supposed to serve? So this place is a place of, we should not consider as some other religions present. This world is not a jail, it's not a punishment. It's a place of reformation. If you want, you can enjoy your material desires. But if you want, there's also an opportunity for spiritual evolution. That is the purpose of creation. And you can come out of it.
Yeah. Thank you, Prabhuji.
I'm not going to the Jiva fall down question. Anything other than that? Yes, Hari Pramod Prabhu.
But Prabhuji, a long back, and just I heard this word param from one of the classes, and it said
Sorry, which word?
param.
Param.
Yes. So it said that param words has three meanings. One is the supreme, one
Uh-huh.
is the dear one, and one is that is the close one, which is very close. So today's verse is give it a very philosophical understanding of this param or paramatma quality of Lord. I can just relate that thing.
Right. Yeah, very nice. Paramatma means, Param can mean supreme, can
Supreme,
be
dear one,
deep.
and closest one.
Yeah, supreme, dear, or intimate. So yeah, we'll see those others in relation to Bhagwan, but in relation to Paramatma, it is the supreme feature. Therefore, every word has its context. You cannot, when you're doing bhakti, you cannot use the word Ishvara. Ishvara is denoting control. Bhagwan is denoting rasa. So how are you addressing Krishna? Thank you, Prabhu, for sharing that. Yes, Prabhu.
Well, I don't know if you already replied it or not, but Dhruv, I was just thinking we are subject to these threefold miseries and Maya in this world, and that's what we're trying to enjoy.
Uh-huh.
How did this propensity develop in the very first place when we were residing with the Lord?
Yeah. We also got that question in the chat. We were
Uh,
in Goloka and so acharyas don't go into that. They say that this cannot be understood. It is incomprehensible. We are limited. We cannot understand everything in this whole reality. We are not Ishwar. We are not omniscient. So when we, reach higher states, when we actually are liberated, we'll find out. So till then, we should focus more on how to get out rather than wondering how did I get in. So what is explained
Yeah.
is we had a separate, Bhinnadarik. We had a separatist mentality. Why is Krishna alone enjoying? That's it. When you see someone enjoying, if you are not happy in their enjoyment, if you are not finding joy in their enjoyment, that is a separatist mentality. So Bhagavatam talks of this Bhinnadarik, seeing difference. As soon as that comes, then we become ahankar comes into play. That's the way to understand it philosophically. Now, what happened, historically, that is beyond our purview. But once we understand, yeah, I had a selfish desire somehow. That to cure that selfish, separated desire is the purpose of my sadhana. To again become Krishna Udmukh, not become Krishna Bahirmukh.
yeah.
Okay.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I had one question that probably at the first place is it the Lord that who has binded us to certain things then?
Is the Lord cause of our bondage? No,
Yes.
the Lord has given us free will. Our free will is not absolute. It functions within the realm of the divine will. So Bhagavad Gita gives this example of that wind may be very powerful. Wind can topple things when there is a storm. Wind can, it can bring down buildings also. So wind is powerful. That is like our free will. But where is that wind moving? Wind is still contained in the sky. So our free will is still operating under the divine will. So Shri Krishna has given us some free will, and how we use or misuse that free will, that depends whether we move towards bondage or whether we move towards freedom. You remember we discussed in mantra uh, 11, what is the vision of a Mahabhagavad? They don't differentiate between bodies. Somebody in a dog body and somebody in a saint body. What do they see? That the Atma in the dog body misused their independence. And the person in the saint body used their free will nicely. That's the only difference. Otherwise, both are same. Yeah, correct. Prabhu quoted from Bhagavad Gita 5:15. The Lord doesn't take anyone's karma. So because we come under the influence of avidya and get the identity of ahankar, we make certain wrong choices, which leads to bondage. So just like the government facilitates both, there is education and there is correction. You'll find a university and you'll also find a prison house. So does the government want you to go to the prison house? No. The government has created both. Now, do you want to educate yourself and go to university? Do you want to do crime and end up in a prison house? That's up to you. So that is how Bhagwan is. He creates and then there's our free will. Is that
Yes,
okay?
yes.
Okay. Let's move to mantra 16 now. So here the devotee is continuing the prayer. Pushan ekarshe yamasurya prajapatya vyuharashmin samuyate tejo yatte rupam kalyanatamatte pashyami yo asavaso purusha soham asmi. Very interesting mantra. So what is the devotee saying, praying on this? O my Lord, O primeval philosopher, maintainer of the universe, O regulating principle, destination of the pure devotees, well-wisher of the progenitors of mankind, please remove the effulgence of your transcendental rays so that I can see your form of bliss. You are the eternal supreme personality of Godhead, like unto the sun, as am I. So much is being said in this one mantra. Let's unpack it step by step. So first, the devotee is addressing the Lord here as Pushan, like in the previous verse, Pushan, Poshana, the maintainer. Ekarshi, the original thinker, the primeval philosopher. There are many philosophers. The original philosopher is you. Yama, you are the regulator. Everything is working under your regulation. Surya. So devotees are called Suris, and the destination of the Suris is called Surya. So you are the destination of the Suris. Yeah, great devotees. You are Prajapatya. So when Brahmaji creates these universes, the different realms, then who populates those planets? The Prajapatis. So you are the well-wisher of the Prajapatis also. So here, what is this prayer indicating? It is not asking, please let me merge in your Brahmajyoti. It is a clear request for darshan. Pashyami, I want to see you. That beautiful song that George Harrison wrote, My Sweet Lord. This is exactly that prayer. I really want to see you, Lord. So this is probably the inspiration for his song. And the devotee wants to have Lord's Kalyana Tama Rupa. What is Kalyana Tama Rupa? So Tama means the supreme, superlative. So Kalyan Tama Rupa means the most auspicious form, transcendental form. So why is the word Rupam used? If ultimate understanding was Brahmajyoti, why are the words Kalyanatama Rupam coming? Rupam means ultimate reality is not formless. Ultimate reality does not lack personality. Yes, ultimate reality is beyond matter, nirguna, beyond limitation, beyond decay, beyond limited and beyond mundane forms and shape. But there is still a transcendental personality. So a materialist cannot see this Kalyanatama Rupam because for a materialist, everything is only gross matter. They cannot see beyond matter. An impersonalist cannot see this Kalyanatama Rupam because impersonalist is so dazzled by the effulgence. Now, the effulgence is so much the impersonalist cannot see anything beyond. Yogi may perceive the Paramatma, but the devotee prays for Kalyanatama Rupam, which means yogi is praying for Bhagavān himself. Okay, so sun and its rays are one and the same, qualitatively. So similarly, the Lord and the living entities, Ishvara and Jeev, are same in quality. So sun is one. In the sun rays, there are innumerable molecules. That is how we, innumerable, infinite individual jivas, are correlated with Bhagwan. We are like him only. He's like the sun. We are like the innumerable particles in the sun rays. Sun and its rays conjointly constitute the complete sun. Yeah, we together when we see sun and the rays, that's what we say, oh, there is the sun. And within the sun, there is also sun god. Similarly, there is Bhagwan in Golok Dham. Chintamani prakarasat masukalpa vriksha laksha vriteshu surabhira vipalayantam Lakshmi Sahasra Shatasam Brahma Sevyamanam Govindamadi Purusham Tamam Bhajami. So Lord is like Surya Narayan, who is beyond the sun planet, who is an individual. Similarly, Lord is an individual in his planet, which is made of Chintamani. And there are Surabhi cows there. And it is filled with spiritual gems. And it is full of Kalpavriksha trees. And he's served by thousands of Lakshmis. So this is the different feature of the absolute truth. So Brahmajyoti is the rays of the spiritual planet, the rays of Vaikuntha, or the rays from the body of the Lord are Brahmajyoti. Unless one surpasses the glare of Brahmajyoti, one cannot receive information of the land of the Lord. Yeah, so if you cannot see beyond the shiny rays of the sun, you'll not be able to see the sun globe. So the impersonalist philosophers are blinded by the dazzling Brahmajyoti. Therefore, they cannot see the land of the Lord, the Dham. They don't believe in Dham. They don't believe in eternal form. Why? Because they are so bewildered by the dazzling light of the Lord. They have a poor fund of knowledge. They cannot understand the all blissful transcendental form of the Lord. So in this prayer, Sri Ishopanishad is petitioning to the Lord, please remove your effulgent rays. Yeah, so that I can see your all blissful transcendental form. Kalyana Tama Rupam. Okay. So each level of realization, Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagavan, the level of auspiciousness keeps increasing. By meeting Bhagavan face to face, that is the most auspicious realization of the Lord. So the Lord is addressed here as primeval philosopher, maintainer, well-wisher. So what are these? These are qualities which relate to an individual. How can you be a philosopher and not have a form and personality and individuality? How can you be a maintainer and not have individuality and personality? So these are all personality traits. Who can have personality traits? Only a supreme person. So Srila Prabhupada says, supreme truth therefore cannot be impersonal. Yeah. Then Srila Prabhupada talks of Pushan, maintainer. So the Lord is maintaining his devotees. In the Bhagavad Sandarbha, Srila Jiva Goswami states that the complete conception of the absolute truth is realized in Bhagwan because Almighty and possesses full transcendental potencies. So if you define God only as omnipotent, omniscient, omnibenevolent, that is, still a incomplete understanding because we have not realized the transcendental potencies. The full potency of the absolute truth is not realized in Brahmajyoti. Therefore, Brahman realization is only partial. Then Srila Prabhupada gives the etymological meaning of Bhagavan. Bhagavan, Bha, Ga, and Van. So what does Bha mean? Bha means Bharata, one who maintains, or guardian, somebody who takes care. Then Ga means Gamana, the leader who leads or guide or creator. And Van means every being resides in him. And he also lives in everyone. So in this way, Bhagavan represents infinite knowledge, potency, energy, opulence, strength, and influence. The Shadashwarya of Bhagavan in full, without any material inability. What is material inability? Nirguna. It is Lord's Nam, Roop, Guna, Leela are free of any touch of material gunas. Okay. So the Lord fully maintains his unalloyed devotees and guides them on the path of devotional perfection. He is the leader of his devotees and he's awarding everyone the desired results of devotional service. What is the desired result of bhakti? Krishna. So he gives himself to his devotees. The devotees of the Lord can see eye to eye, can see the Lord eye to eye. How? By his causeless mercy only. So we cannot limit Krishna. How can you see God? If you have his mercy, you can see God face to face. But so this is Shiva Prabhu. Isn't that for once the Lord bring everything and they start worshipping the Lord. In reciprocation to that, the Lord says, what do I do? Dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti te. I give them the knowledge by which they come to me, ultimately reach me. He's the cause of all causes. Nothing caused him. He's the original cause. So consequently, he enjoys his own self by manifesting his own internal potential. He doesn't require anyone. He is fully satisfied in himself through his internal potency. Then why this creation? Not for him. In fact, this external potency is also not manifested exactly by him. It is manifested from the Purushavataras, who are his amshas. Yeah. In these forms, he maintains the features of the material manifestation. By such expansions, the Purushavataras, he creates, maintains, and annihilates the cosmic manifestation. So now the other part is that the living entities are also differentiated expansions of the Lord Self. What is it called in Sanskrit? Vibhinamsha. We are also amshas, but we are vibhinam. We are differentiated or separate. Why are we separate? Because we also want to be the Lords. We want to imitate Krishna. So he allows them to enter this cosmic creation with an option to fully utilize your propensity. You want to be Ishvara? Okay, be the Ishvara. Lord it over material nature. So when the jivas enter into the Prakriti, then the whole Jagat, then the creation is stirred into action and reaction. The karma cycle begins. So jivas are given facility to lord it over material nature, but ultimately the controller is Lord himself. Yeah. In what feature? In his plenary feature as Paramatma, the super soul. Okay, so there is a big difference between Atma and Paramatma. Atma is controlled and Paramatma is the controller. Because the Paramatma fully cooperates with the Atma, he is known as the constant companion of the living being. He's cooperating. He's not necessarily agreeing to all our desires. He's saying, okay, if you really want to do this, does your karma allow? Okay, do it. Doesn't mean he's agreeing with us. So the material world is created to facilitate the jiva's independent desire, as we discussed. So he doesn't interfere in our independence, but he still cooperates because without his cooperation, we cannot even enjoy it. Yeah, we need his facilitation to even have pleasure and pain in this world. So the all-pervading feature of the Lord, which exists in all circumstances of sleeping, waking, and potential states, and from the Jiva Shakti, is generated as both conditioned and liberated soul. So Brahman, from Brahman comes all this. The all-pervading feature of the Lord, which is Brahman, it exists in all circumstances, Jagrat, Swapna, Shushupti. And from Brahman comes these states of Jiva Shakti, both states, Baddha and Mukta. Since the Lord is the origin of both Paramatma and Bhagavān, he is the origin of living entities and everything else. So Prabhupada is summarizing. One who knows this engages himself at once in the devotional service of the Lord. Which verse is this from the Bhagavad Gita? One who knows this. Chapter 10, verse 7. Etam vibhutim yogam cha mama yoveti tattvataha soavikalpena yogena yujyate natra samshaya. So one who is factually convinced of this opulence and mystic power of mind, that this is how Lord is accomplishing everything. Once you are convinced of Krishna's opulence and power, what will you do? Engages in unalloyed devotional service. Avikalpena. There is no division. It's one pointed. Avikalpena yogena. It's bhakti yoga, ananya bhakti. Engages in unalloyed devotional service. Of this, there is no doubt. And this is also presented in a later verse before the Lord begins speaking about his opulences. Okay, so, and such a pure and fully cognizant devotee of the Lord is fully attached to him. Now, this is Madchitta Madgata Prana, Bodhayanta Paraspara. And whenever such a devotee assembles with similar devotees, they have no engagement, but the glorification of the Lord. So, if you are convinced that Krishna is the cause, Krishna is all pervading, you will start worshipping him. And that word, Madchitta Madgata Prana, and you will speak about him. Bodhayanta Paraspara, Kathayantascha Mam Nityam, Tushyanti cha, Brahmanti cha. And those who are not as perfect as the pure devotees, those who have only realized the Brahman or Paramatma feature, they cannot appreciate the activities of the perfect devotees because the perfect devotees are glorifying Krishna. So those who have not realized Bhagwan, how can they appreciate those who are glorifying Bhagwan? They have not yet understood the spiritual potencies of the Lord. So any devotees discussing and glorifying the spiritual potencies of the Lord will not make sense to them. Then Prabhupada says, next verse, Dadami Buddhi Yogam Tam. The Lord helps pure devotees by imparting necessary knowledge within their hearts. And out of his special favor, he dissipates all darkness of ignorance. Tesham eva anukampartham aham ajnana jamatama. Nashayami atma bhavastu jnana deepena bhashvata. So what is the basic lesson? That those who are speculative philosophers and yogis, they cannot understand this because they are trying to achieve perfection by their own endeavor. They cannot realize how can Lord dissipate the darkness of ignorance in your heart. How can the Lord give you knowledge? For them, this is beyond comprehension. They are more or less dependent on their own strength. As stated in Kathopanishad, only by those whom he favors, Krishna can be known. So you may need favor of the Lord to realize the Lord, to have darshan of the Lord. So there are these attributes of the Lord presented in this verse, which are very important to understand. These are personality traits: maintainer, philosopher, regulator, well-wisher. So these are roles in the cosmos, which are managed by the single supreme person, Bhagavan. So it is very important. Every word in this mantra is denoting a personality. That ultimate reality is a supreme person. Okay. And
Prabhuji, one question.
yeah,
The Lord can be known only by those whom He,
correct.
and also in the Bhagavad Gita, only by knowing Him, one can surpass the boundary of birth and death. Prabhuji, what is the meaning of knowing the
What
God
is the meaning of
knowing the
knowing?
Lord. Yeah.
Knowing the Lord. Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo veti tattvata. So knowledge about the Lord is not just information. It is not just epistemology. It is also teleology. Means it can take you, it is salvific. It can give you salvation. So don't think that knowledge about the Lord is knowledge about like knowledge of other objects of this world. Knowledge of the Lord is the cause of your liberation from this world. And what does it mean to know God? It means to know Lord with his material and spiritual potencies. That is what Bhagavad Gita is explaining in the middle six chapters. What are the various energies of the Lord? What are the various opulences of the Lord? How are his Shaktis functioning? So to understand,
Suppose
Krishna.
we read it, okay? So what you were told, we read it in the Gita and in the books. And by reading
Yes.
one, means how can we understand we know? This-
Not just by reading, by hearing from pure devotees. When we hear from pure devotees, then we are actually convinced that yes, Krishna is Swayam Bhagavan. So when we hear, like we discussed, Mahat Seva, Mahat Kripa, that gives Vasudeva Katha Ruchi. So hearing from those who are pure devotees, that about the Lord, about the Lord's Leelas, about the Lord's Gunas, that is what leads to liberation. Knowing me, you can come to me. So when we know the Lord completely through the pure devotees, through the Guru, that can liberate us from this world. Because everything ultimately is, we come back to the first mantra. Do you put God in the center of everything? That is Ishavasya Drishti. If you put God in the center, then you are living a life of evolution, mantra 2. That means you will ultimately reach Krishna. If not, then you will undergo degradation. So basically, to accept the nature of reality, to accept the nature of divinity, that is when the soul achieves moksha or freedom or reaches Krishna's goal. Because now you know what is functioning where and how. So you aim for that. You don't aim for temporary things of this world.
So we can say that if we are living the life of devotees, it means
Right.
God is favoring us.
We can.
If we are living the life of a devotee,
Mhm.
the guidance of his own, it means God is favoring us.
God is last
Fav-
word I could.
Favoring us.
God is everywhere.
Favor us.
Yes, yes, yes. So yeah, I mean that is what these mantras are saying. Bhagavad Gita 10.8 to 11. And once we start worshipping the Lord, Krishna favors us. So bhajatam priti purvakam. Your priti, affection for Bhagavan, attracts his tesham eva anukampa, attracts Krishna's anukampa. So your devotion will attract his grace. That's the part. Okay. So there is one more philosophical point here, which we will give a few minutes to understand. And this mantra also talks about tatte pashyami. Who do I want to see? Yaha asau, yaha asau asau purusha, so aham asmi. So here the word soham asmi is coming. Soham, soham. Have you heard the word soham? So what is that soham that tvam asi? So we have to understand this soham business. So there are, these are uh, aphorisms. Soham or tatvam asi. I am that very same person. Does it mean I am Bhagwan? No. Qualitatively, we are one. Both are Sat Chit Anand. But Bhagwan is infinite, we are atomic. Bhagwan is the controller, we are the controlled. Bhagwan is the maintainer, we are the maintained. Nityo nityanam chetanas chetananam eko bahuda yodadhati kaman. So here, Soham is not indicating that you are same as God. It is saying, I also have a similar nature to you, Krishna. The Abheda is becoming a motivation of bhakti that I am also like you in nature. Therefore, please reveal your form to me. You see where this Soham is coming? Because I am of your nature, so will you not reveal yourself to me? I'm yours only, I'm like you only. Doesn't mean I am Ishwar. So, this is very important to understand. There should be no mistake in this. So, this is how do our acharyas present this? That I am qualified to see your form because you are the complete person. You are your Paramatma, who is just your portion in the material world. And we jivas also are all spiritual by nature. Yeah. So I'm qualified to see that form because you, Paramatma, and us, jivas, are all spiritual. The Paramatma, the Purushavasaras created this. They are spiritual. You are spiritual. I am spiritual by nature. Therefore, I am qualified to see you. Therefore, I am making this prayer. So normally you might have heard in some discussions that Tvam Asi. That is you only. Or Soham Asmi. That is me only. So it is talking of a concept of one Brahman with no qualities, Nirgun Brahman. Everything is that. You are that Brahman, you are not your individuality. That is me only. So what are they doing in the Advaitic presentation? They are saying all forms are false. So there is nothing but Brahman. That Brahman, Tvam, is you. You are that Brahman only. You are not this temporary form. So Aham Asmi, that Brahman is me only. So what it is trying to do is say that let's destroy all false and illusory forms, temporary forms, false forms. But they make the mistake of including Jiva and Ishvara in those false forms. But we know Jiva is eternal. Mamayvamsho Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. So Jiva is Sanatan. Jiva is not false. Same with Ishvara. So for the Mayavadis, for the Advaitins, Ishvara is also a temporary form. And so if Ishvara is the cause, what is the effect? Jiva. So the Mayavadis say both the cause and effect are material. They are all illusory. So give them up. There is no Ishwar, there is no Jiva, it is only Brahman. Okay. Have you heard this? Does it sound convincing? No, it is not right. So Vedanta Desika, a brilliant, great acharya from Sri Vaishnav Sampradaya, he says, now this is how philosophers think and respond. Okay, when we say asmi, so aham asmi, that aham, that is me. Okay, so means that Brahman, aham means me, the jiva, asmi is am. So where do you think Sri Vedanta Desika is addressing this? And he's using the word asmi. What does asmi means? It means you realize that you are that. Okay, that means you exist even after realization. That itself talks of individuality. So within your aphorism, the word asmi is indicating that you are an eternal individual. You continue to exist even after your so-called Brahman realization. Did you get that point? So the concept of you and I, everything was supposed to be rejected. But you are saying, so asmi, I am. Yeah. So your existence, my existence, your existence, that implies that the soul continues. So this, otherwise this statement will be useless. So asmi. It is saying that even after your realization, even though it is false realization, you continue to exist. So this is how, it is responding. And you are not that, you are of the same nature. So this was, we saw in mantras. First, mantra 15 began by explaining that one should understand Bhagavān as the master of both material and spiritual energies. Mantra 16 said, continued the prayer of the devotee to the Lord to reveal his spiritual form. Do you remember what did we see in mantra 14? Mantra 14 said, one should know Vinasha and Sambhuti together. So what is Sambhuti? Sambhuti means to know perfectly the form of the Lord, the qualities, the pastimes of the Lord. So that transcendental realization is possible only by Krishna's mercy. You can understand Sambhuti completely only when Krishna gives you mercy. Therefore, the devotee is praying. So mantra 14 said, understand Vinasha and Sambhuti perfectly if you want to gain liberation. So to understand Sambhuti, you need mercy of the Lord. That's why 15th mantra begins with a prayer. Please give me your mercy to understand you. So this is Sri Ishopanishad is teaching us in these last 4 mantras, what is the process of gaining the mercy of the Lord? How do we gain Bhagavad Kripa? Yeah, Krishna is equal to all, but he favors his devotees. He guides them. He gives them the necessary knowledge to attain him, we discussed. So devotees are in a superior position compared to jnanis and yogis who are dependent on their own strength. Yeah. So, to attain a liberated state, this devotee who is praying is seeing the effulgence of the Lord. But that meeting the Lord is not possible just by Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam. And liberation is not possible just by meeting the Lord. It is possible when one obtains the mercy of the Lord to attain the Lord. Lord reserves that right. Yeah. To attain me, to attain my mercy, that is my right. So here these last few verses are giving us a method of prayer to attract the mercy of the Lord. So first, what happens when we receive Lord's mercy? We are able to perceive Him. We are able to get a perception of the Lord by hearing and meditating. Perception. Okay. Evatmanishware. And once we have the right perception, then we can attain liberation. So this is all step by step. Okay, any questions or comments? Okay, thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Ishopanishad ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji.
Prabhuji, I just wanted to just recap that separatist mentality is that we want to independently enjoy from God or from anyone. Is that?
Correct. We don't want to serve and surrender. We want to enjoy ourselves.
And that comes from the ego.
That comes from first avidya. Avidya gives us ahankara. What is avidya?
Yeah.
That we are not Ishwar,
Misidentified.
we are Prakriti. That is avidya. To or to confuse between Sat and Asat, that is avidya. To take what is temporary to be eternal and what is eternal to be temporary, that is avidya. Then that leads to ego, ahamkara. So yes, that Bhinnadrik is a separatist mentality.
And the other question is in some purports or in the books, Prabhupada writes that Tattvam Asi. So, so does it imply the Achintya Veda Veda Tattva?
Yeah, it
Why
implies
exactly?
Veda part. That yes. See, we were just discussing in another session. I'll share with you. I can find it quickly. That what is the purpose of Abheda also? Hmm. Anyways, I'll share later. So it was saying something to the effect of being of the same nature is an impetus to devotion. So Abheda also supports bhakti in that way. And yes, I'm also of your nature, Krishna. I'm also spiritual. I want to come back to you. I'm not this matter. I'm mistaking myself for matter. Therefore, trying to find pleasure in matter, but I'm not matter. I'm spirit like you. In quality, not in quantity. So yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay, you had a question, Karunavati? Or is it done? Yes.
Na Prabhuji, Dhanvat Pranamams, Prabhuji already.
Abheda. One second, I found the sentence. Abheda provides a foundation for bhakti to be there in the first place. If you are so different from the Lord, how will you be able to relate to the Lord? So Abheda provides a foundation for bhakti to be there in the first place. This is by a devotee scholar.
Thanks.
Yes.
Yeah, my question is simple, Prabhuji. Like, how we know that, like, Lord is showering us mercy, Prabhuji? Like, how we can perceive that Lord is having mercy on us?
Yeah. So when we are sincerely loving and serving Krishna, we can feel his presence, guidance, direction, protection, everything. How can you feel it? You might say, ordinarily, this wouldn't have happened, but it still happened. So when things happen out of the way, it is not as per our karma, but it is going beyond our karma. That indicates that Krishna's hand is present. And we can see, this was not, where did this come from? So the grace, the interventions, the intuitions that we have, sometimes it save us from such great dangers. So all of those are indications that Krishna is protecting us. I'll share that picture in the group also. I already shared. One is your attraction to Krishna will increase and your attraction to matter will reduce. This is also an indication of Krishna's mercy. Is that happening?
Just
Tesham,
trying to know, like, whether Krishna is showing us mercy, or whether I'm able to not able to understand his mercy, like, if he's showering. So I'm just trying to understand, Prabhuji, with your explanation.
right. Yeah, his mercy comes in various forms. Devotees coming in our life, scriptures revealing truths to us. You're getting a prasad. Somebody, never heard of Krishna, they're getting Krishna prasad. So these are all, Krishna's mercy upon people. Okay.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhu, one more class will be there, right, Prabhu? Anisha Upanishad, we said today.
Yes.
Okay, one
Yeah.
more is there. Okay. Thank you.
I mean, on Tuesday.
Yes, okay. Okay, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Hare Krishna.